Hello guys, welcome back. Today we're going to work in Python percentages. So let's get started. The first thing that I want you to do before you see this video, before you watch it, is that you go to the presentation of PowerPoint that I'm going to upload in Teams and clicking here so you can see this video that is what are percentages and you get the idea of what we're doing, because in this video what we're going to do is to make some examples to convert fractions into decimal and percentages and so on. So let's get started, but don't forget to watch first this video. So what we're going to do is to take 5/8 and we're going to convert this fraction into a percentage and a decimal number. So we're going to do two exercises in here, but before we do it, you have to take into account that there is always an easy way to turn the fraction into a decimal number and into a percentage. So in here, I'm going to show you how to do it in the easiest way. There are a lot of ways to do it, but for me, this one is the easiest way, so I hope that you understand it. So the first thing that we're going to do is to take this fraction and to turn it into a decimal number. How we're going to do that? We're going to take 5/8 and we're going to write it as a division. Remember that this is the same as 5 divided by 8. And as long as equals to 5 divided by 8, we can do a standard division to find the decimal number. So remember that the first thing is that 8 doesn't goes into 5. Or the other way to say it, 8 goes 0 times into 5. So we place a 0 in here. For continuing the division, we place a point and then we place a 0 in here. So how many times goes 8 into 15? Exactly, it goes 6 times. So we place 6 in here, we made the multiplication, 8 times 6 is 48, so we made the subtraction in here, in the equation. So no, in this part of the division. 50 minus 48 is equals to 2. 8 doesn't goes into 2, so what we have to do is to place a 0 in here. So 8 goes 2 times into 20. So 8 times 2, that is 16, and we make a subtraction. We get a 4. 8 doesn't goes into 4, but we got the right to place a 0 in here. So 8 goes times 5 times, 8 goes 5 times into 40. Sorry, so 8 times 5, that is 40. So we make the subtraction and we get 0, which means that 5/8 is equals to 0.625. So if we go to the table, we can write down the decimal form of the fraction. And now we're going to get the percentage. So now we are going to take 5/8 and we're going to turn it into a percentage. The easy way to do it is going to be as I show you. We take 5/8 in its decimal form because we already know that 5/8 is equals to 0.625. And we are going to take that decimal and we're going to convert it into a fraction. Into a percentage. So how do we do that? So that's why it's important that you saw the video that I told you, because in there they explain to you that percentage means one quantity for each 100. Percent means per each 100. Cent is the word for Latin for hundreds, and per means each one of these numbers. So what we're going to do is to multiply by a fraction that it has as denominator 100. Look at this fraction is has a particularity, and that particularity is that the denominator is equal to the numerator, and must be that way because 100/100, that is 1. And when you multiply any number by 1, you're going to get the same number. So we're doing in here a trick, but that trick get us a fraction into question marks because it's not a fraction that has as denominator 100. So I'm going to show you how to multiply this. Remember that for multiplying these two numbers, we got to place a 1 over the decimal number. So we multiply by 100/100. And remember this, when you multiply a decimal number by a power of 10 that it has two zeros, for instance, in this case, the point moves to the right as many zeros, or it moves as many places as 0 has the power of 10. So in this case, this point goes 1 and 2, so it ends in being 62.5. And then when you multiply 1 times 100, you get 100. So we already have a fraction that is fraction in question marks, because when you are talking about fractions, you can have a decimal number on the top. So this is a fraction in question marks that it has a denominator as 100, meaning that we have 62.5 per each 100, or 62.5%. So we already have the percentage, and we can go to our table and write down our percentage in here. So we already have complete the first row. So now let's convert 28.8% into a decimal and into a fraction. So as we did it with the fraction, there is an easy way to take a percentage and goes into a fraction and into a decimal number. So the easy way to do it is to first take this percentage and convert it into a fraction. How we're going to do that? Well, remember that 28.8% means that we have 28.8 for each 100 or over 100. So we write it down like this one. And we're almost there to convert this one into a fraction. Why this one is not a fraction? Because we got a decimal number on the top, and it cannot be like that. Both numbers must be integer. So for turning this decimal number into an integer, we're going to amplify this fraction. So we're going to multiply by 10, 10 tenths the fraction. So this is going to do that this point moves to the right one time, and this 100 is going to become 1000. So now we got two integers numbers, one on the top, one on the bottom, so this one is the fraction. But remember that in a test, they're going to ask you to simplify your answer. That is going to be also in the course compass. So what we have to do is to take this fraction and simplify it. I'm underlining this because I'm going to use it later. I'm going to show you why. And then now we have to simplify this. Both numbers are even, so we simplify by 2, and we get 144 over 500. Both numbers are even again, so we simplify the fraction by 2. So we got 72 over 250. And both numbers are even again, so we simplify it again, and we get that this is 36 over 125. In this case, both numbers don't have a common divisor. We cannot simplify further this fraction, so we get into the first answer. And 28.8% means 36 over 125. Remember that I underlined two answers? I'm going to show you why I did it. Because now we got to take two options. The first one is to take this fraction and convert it into a decimal, or to take its equivalent that I underline at the beginning, that is 288 over 1000, and turn this into a decimal number. The easy way to do it is to use this one, because this number is divided by a power of 10. But this one, it would be really hard. So we have to work really hard with this one. So we're going to take the easy way to do it. So we're going to take 288 over 1000. I place the point in here to remind you that in the division that we have, this is equivalent to the division, the point is going to move to the left as many times as 0 has the power of 10. So in this case, it's going to move 3 times. So we got 0.288. So we go to our table and we complete this part, and we're almost finishing our table. To finish our exercise, what we're going to do now is to take this decimal number and we're going to convert it into a percentage and then into a fraction. So as I showed you, there is always an easy way to do it when we're talking about decimal numbers, to go to percentage and to go to fractions. So this is the easiest way to do it in this case is to take this number that is in here, and first we're going to convert it into a percentage. So how we're going to do that? Remember that that's multiplied by 100 over 100. Remember the trick? If you don't remember the trick, go at the big well, go backwards on the video, and then you're going to find out why we're multiplying by 100 over 100. So we do the standard procedure that we have done many times, and place a 1 over under here, and we multiply straight numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator, and then we got 18.3 over 100. Why 18.3? Because we got two zeros, and this point moves to the right as many times as zeros we have in here. So it goes 1 and 2, 18.3. And when we multiply 1 times 100, that is 100. So if you pay attention to this, that is not a fraction, but we're going to call it a fraction. We can see that the denominator is 100, so meaning that 18.3 for each 100, or in other words, 18.3%. So we already have our percent, and we're going to underline this, and we're going to call this percentage in the fraction form because it's going to be really useful. So we already have our percentage. So we go to our table and we write down our percentage form. Now we got two options in here. So the first option is to take 18.3 over 100, that is the fraction form of the percentage, and convert it into a fraction, or take directly the decimal number and convert it into a fraction. So in this example, I'm going to do the both options. The first one is to take 18.3 over 100, and we amplify this fraction 10 times. So the number on the top becomes an integer number. So when we multiply this fraction by 10, we amplify it by 10, we're going to get 183 over 1000, because this point moves one time in here because we have a 0 here. And also 100 times 10 is 1000. And we already got our fraction. We don't have to do anything else because both numbers are, they don't have a common divisor. So the second option is to take the decimal. For taking the decimal, we have to remind ourselves that this point it cannot be in here. We got to turn this into an integer number. So we got to multiply by 1000, but by 1000 over 1000. Remember the trick. This is a 1 disguise. And when you multiply a number by 1, it's going to be the same number. But as long as it's disguised as a fraction, it's going to give us a fraction that we're looking for. So again, we place 1 under the decimal number, and we multiply by 1000 over 1000. So in the multiplication, we get the same fraction as here because this point moves 3 times as long as we have 3 zeros in here. So it moves to the right 3 times. And 1 times 1000 is 1000. So this is our answer. You either choose the first way or the second way, the one that you think is easier. Suit yourself. And that's it. We get this table complete, and I hope that you have understand this. If you have any question, don't doubt to write me through things, and I'm going to be helping you with the things that you don't understand. And try to watch the video again. Maybe if you see it again, you're going to understand better. Remember that you have to write down these examples in your notebook, and you have to try to understand what we did in here, because that is the idea. Okay, so thank you for watching. See you next time. But before I go, I was forgetting that I have in here a table for you to complete it. So try to do it, and then you're going to realize how much did you understand about the video. So you can use the video to complete the table and work through these exercises before you go to the course Compass, and then you're going to guarantee your success. So I hope that you're okay. See you next time.